Generally, in Daygame, girls will be more friendly and easy to open, at least to a point. But then in Nightgame, they'll be a little bit like more harder to open. But if you do get them to open, like sex can happen faster. Now, obviously, there are exceptions. The major exception is the walking Daygame set. Like walking sets in Daygame are actually like a high energy set and actually difficult to approach. But if we talk about a set standing or set sitting in Daygame versus a set standing or sitting in Nightgame, it's probably easier to get like just a friendly response in Daygame, but harder to get a sexual response. In Nightgame, you're more likely to get the harsh blowout, but you're also more likely to get a very sexual kind of thing because of the nature of it. And that actually escalates depending on the environment. The louder the club, the more that's the case, right? And a loud, crazy club where you can barely hear anybody, very easy to get rejected. Also very easy to like be making out with a girl within the first 10 seconds of the set. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. The other thing that is a really big difference between Daygame and Nightgame is the ability to escalate and the ways in which you escalate. So in Daygame, your escalations are primarily going to be verbal and logistical. You're going to change the topic of the conversation towards more and more sexual, and you're going to be moving the girl around from place to place, right? In Nightgame, it's going to be verbal and physical, okay? It's going to be harder to move the girls around, or at least you're going to have more sort of buy-in and whatnot to move the girls around, but you need a lot less to get physical. It's a lot more acceptable to be physical, even on greetings, even on hellos. Oftentimes in Nightgame, I'll open a girl with like a hug almost right away. Sometimes in Nightgame, I'll walk up to a girl and because I know it's on, I'll just make out with her right on the open, especially in like dancey type clubs and places where there's like a high energy kind of environment. Sometimes you look at a girl a certain way, you make eye contact, you're walking towards her and you just see it and you just grab her and kiss her.
Sorry,
right?
Before you say anything at all?
Before I've said anything at all, yeah.
So is that like 1 second of eye contact, like I look this way and you're coming, or is that like...
Sometimes, like maybe like you're walking down through the dance floor, she sees you, you see her, maybe you reach out, take her hand, pull her in and kiss her. Right, something like that could happen very quickly, right? And actually, that's not like the kiss is technically the open. Technically, the open's putting out your hand. She takes your hand, which is compliance. You pull lightly on her hand. She goes with it, which is compliance, and then you kiss. So it's not like you went straight for the kiss in that case. It was compliance once, compliance twice, kiss, in that particular case, right? That said, you could imagine a scenario maybe walking through the dance floor, girls dancing. You kind of like dance a little bit, dance right up to her, and then pull her in and kiss her. That could absolutely happen as well. Okay, so that's a possibility in Nightgame. Unlikely in Daygame. Not to say it's never, ever, ever happened, but like unlikely that you're going to just walk up to and kiss a girl without talking to her in Daygame. So you see the distinction. On the other hand, logistics, in a Daygame situation, the girl has nothing to do. She's very willing to be brought to somewhere to do something, and being brought to do something isn't a hugely sexual move. Let's go for a coffee is not hugely sexual. But in a nightclub, when you say let's leave the club together, that is hugely sexual, right? So there are lighter logistical moves inside the club, but even those, moving the girl away from the friends is a major thing, okay? So second distinction, so first distinction is the energy level and what you'll need to open and what you'll need to get their attention. Second distinction is in Nightgame, you're going to be escalating more physically, more early, and then also less logistically right away, right? So the logistical escalation probably is later, physical escalation is a little earlier than what you would expect in Daygame. Final difference, and this isn't necessarily a difference, but it's a common difference, is friends, right? You could be a very successful, good Daygamer and only approach girls by themselves. You'd be missing a lot of opportunities still, because there are a lot of girls with their friends in Daygame too. But you could do very well, because there's enough girls walking around alone, and girls do go by themselves in the daytime, at least relatively frequently. In Nightgame, that's much more rarely the case. It is very rare to find a hot girl by herself with no friends in Nightgame. And if you do find that, she's going to be talking to some dudes pretty fucking quickly. So, you know, she won't be not in a group in that case either. Okay, so you're going to have to deal with groups in Nightgame. So how do you deal with groups? Okay, number one, you have to, most of the time, you have to engage the group. Right? You can't just treat them like they don't exist. You can't just ignore them because that's rude. They came together, they expect to like have the attention of the girl you're with. They're probably friends. It's insulting to them if you ignore them, so you probably have to engage with them. There are a few minor exceptions to this. One is if the girl's friends are all super engaged with each other and don't seem to notice too much when you open the girl, sometimes you don't have to. The other exception is when it's extremely loud. Sometimes the engagement of the group can be minimal because they just flat out can't hear you. You want to indicate that you're willing to engage with them still. You want to be friendly towards them, but you may not be able to talk much to them because it may be a case where your voice will only carry for 6 inches in a very loud club. Does that make sense? Okay. But engaging the group is important. As far as openers for engaging the group, there's a lot of complicated, interesting, good ones you can do. The easiest though is just take whatever your opener would be for the girl and make it collective. So if normally you'd say, hey, you look cute, you say, hey, you guys look cute. If you say, oh, you look crazy over there, say, oh, you guys look like the craziest girls in here. All right? So just take whatever would have been the individual opener and make it collective is a good kind of default if you're wondering how to open the group. Okay? Final thing with dealing with a group, maybe final two things, is finding out the dynamic and target selection, which are related. Finding out the dynamic, best thing to do, or easiest good thing to do, I suppose, is to ask, how does everybody know each other at some point early on, or a similar kind of question. All right? Now you want to ask that question to someone who likes you. Right? You don't want to ask that question to someone who hates you or doesn't want to give you a good response. You particularly don't want to ask it to some guy who wishes you weren't there, because you're going to get some bullshit answers that are not going to help you, right? And that may even make the set awkward. But ask a girl that likes you, how do you guys know each other in a casual way? You'll probably find out a lot about the set. Who knows who do you need to be on good terms with in order to pull this girl, whether or not your girl has a boyfriend, and whether it'll be something that can even go feasibly forward, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's number one. You'll find out a lot there. Second one is, in terms of selecting a target, you do not necessarily have to talk more to your target. In a loud environment, you probably do. In a loud environment, you probably have to talk mainly to the girl you're interested in, just because very few people can hear you and it's hard to be heard by multiple people at once. But in a more loungy environment or an environment where the music isn't super loud, you can talk as much to your to the friend as to the girl you're into. That's totally okay. But the nature of the conversation is that the premise-y man-to-woman stuff should be related to the girl you're into. With the girl you're not into, everything's positive, friendly, nice. Just, yeah, you accept her. You accept her in this role of friend. There's not a lot of tension. There's just happiness and positivity, right? With the girl that you're into, the role she's up for is a much more intimate role. She's being considered for the role of lover, girlfriend, whatever. But it's maybe somewhat doubtful whether she's going to have that role, which is how you do that without giving your power away. Right? So imagine if you had a company, one person is like, hey, you can get this like minimum wage job that I have in the company, you're hired. The other person, I'm considering you for an executive level position, but honestly, like it's pretty competitive, you probably won't get it. That's the difference, right? Your target is being considered for the high level position, but she probably won't get it.